Hey guys, I'm back. For those of you who are new, welcome to Cheron, to my channel. It's called A Dose of Cheron, semicolon medicine. Word on the street was that you guys kind of missed me. I had a couple of people like, when are you making your next video? When are you coming out with another video? Have you released another video? So guys, I'm back. So I ask that you please like and subscribe now. So where's she been? Where's she been? I've actually just got finished completing up my second year of the post-bacc program that I completed. So what a better time to talk about post-bacc programs. So a lot of you may not be familiar with what the post-bacc program is or what's necessarily the difference between a post-bacc program and a master's program. So today we're going to discuss all of that. So first, let's briefly explain what a post-bacc program is. A post-bacc program is typically a program that you've completed once you've actually received your bachelor's degree, whether that took you 4 years, 5 years. Remember, everyone travels down their own different journey, and it's okay. Also, there's nothing wrong with doing a post-bacc program, and I'm going to tell you why. So why a post-bacc program? If you're like me and you need a higher MCAT score, this is a great way to increase your MCAT score. Or there's some people who their MCAT score is fine, but that GPA, it needs some working. That's also an option. Some people may have not majored in a science major such as biology, chemistry, biochem, or psychology, and now they need to actually make sure they gain the prereqs to get into medical school. And I just want to remind you guys with that, like, it is a-okay to major in something that is not the sciences, because you can still go to medical or dental school. And looking back on it, I wish that I probably would have done that. It just makes you more diverse and gives you a different appreciation, but that's neither here nor there now. Some people like me also, you just want to make yourself overall a better candidate. You want to be the best of the best. You guys know that getting into medical school and dental school, it is extremely competitive. So at this point, I just wanted my application to be as perfect as possible. Allow them to just give me checks, or fives in every category. So post-baccs are usually verified programs that are actually put on or promoted through a medical school. So the post-bacc program that I did at SIU, which is Southern Illinois at Carbondale, it was managed and ran through by the actual SIU School of Medicine. So usually programs are verified and they're ran through a school. So once again, that's an opportunity for you to really show put your best foot forward, show your best self, because you're actually with a medical school. You'll probably have professors who actually teach in a medical school. So always remember to put your best foot forward. And honestly, I personally saw me getting a chance to go to the post-bacc as my second opportunity. And those opportunities don't come around always. So just remember, like, when you're going into a post-bacc program, this is your time to get it together. And that's very serious, because when people go from undergrad and then do a post-bacc, medical schools are really looking at how did you progress through the post-bacc program. And honestly, everything should be an upward trend, whether it's your GPA, MCAT score, shadowing opportunities, community service, everything should be on an upward trend. You're showing them that now I maybe wasn't as mature, but now I'm mature. I know this is something that I want and that I'm taking seriously. So just keep that in mind. Also with post-bacc programs, usually, well, specifically the program I did, it was a program for minorities. So there's usually a lot of support. It feels good to see students who look like you, who struggled like you, but at the same time, you didn't let one no stop you, or an MCAT score, a GPA, and pre-med advisor telling you, I don't think that you can do this. So that was like my biggest takeaway from my whole post-bacc experience, was just like the people that I met and the relationships that I formed. It's just like, wow, like, we're all going to be medical doctors. That's just a really good feeling to see, like, how you can balance and like study your butts off for a test, but like on a Friday night, everyone's down to have a great time. Just that whole idea of balance, which is extremely important, whether you're in a post-bacc program or medical school or dental school. As I said, they're usually associated with a medical school. So with that being said, there's usually some type of bridge program or alliance program where like if you have a certain GPA, maintain a certain MCAT score, maybe a certain amount of community service, things of that nature, you can automatically matriculate into the medical school or a medical program which they're affiliated with. And so that's always good to know that you have something to fall back on, because with the program I did, once we were accepted into the program, once you got your MCAT score back, you didn't have to apply. Well, you had to apply to SIU, but like we didn't go through the interview process or anything, because basically our MEDPREP interview was our medical school interview. So that was like a sigh of relief. So the programs are typically 1 to 2 years, and also you gain a lot of shadowing experience. And I think that's something that's really important, because I know, believe it or not, there's a lot of admissions committees that are like, if you guys say you want to be a doctor or a dentist, like make sure you can back it up. So with that being said, like you should have shadowing experience, or just that whole patient interaction experience, whether it's with a job, whether you're scribing, or like I said, whether you're shadowing. And just keep in mind, like, reach out, step out of your comfort zones when it comes to shadowing. I just finished a whole semester of shadowing in the emergency department, because if you don't know, I want to be in your nearest emergency room. But I shadowed Dr. Antonio Cummings at Memorial Hospital in Carbondale, Illinois, and he was the bomb.com. Like, I was a fortune cookie, because I was so fortunate to have him. That was real corny, I know. But no, he was literally great. And just seeing like the way he cared for his patients, how he kept his morals and ethics all into medicine. When I left, I was like, I truly aspire to be like you. And you just gain so much knowledge. So I think that's something that you guys should really do, even if you don't get the shadowing specialty that you want. Like, you never know what you could potentially learn from that. So now we're going to talk about some pros of a post-bacc program. You meet amazing people in the program. Like, some of the people that I met in my program, like, they're really good people. They'll be at my wedding. Some they won't, but hey, that's life. But aside from that, you learn, like, I learned so much about the whole medical school application and timeline, which, being that I went to the Xavier University of Louisiana, #1 for producing African American doctors and then matriculating and graduating from medical school. I wasn't necessarily aware of the timeline of medical school, and I think that's something that a lot of people don't know about. So, like, ideally, you can submit. So the medical school application opens like May 1st, May 2nd. Don't quote me on it. I don't have the exact dates, but like around June 1st or June 2nd, at the latest June 3rd, they allow you to actually submit your application. I would say that you guys should be submitting as soon as possible, because what they don't tell you is it takes approximately 30 days just to get it takes approximately 30 days just to be verified. So until you're verified, no schools are seeing you. Therefore, you're not getting any secondaries. And there's a lot of applicants that are applying to schools, guys. This is really competitive. So if this is something that you really want, take it serious. With that being said, being that I went to a post-bacc program, it allowed me to get letters of recommendation from professors who taught at medical schools. But with going to a post-bacc program, or if someone is doing a master's program, a lot of these programs have these things called committee letters, which, if you're feeling familiar with the medical school application, you'll know about that. So with the committee letter, basically they compiled all of my individual letters of recommendation and added those at the end. But in the beginning, it was basically a sheet that like gave my demographics, talks about me as a student and a leader, and then at the end it was like, we recommend this student what in regards to medical school. And so for me, for the program I did, it was like, do not recommend with reservations, recommend with confidence, and recommend with enthusiasm. And you guys know, being the person that I am, I was recommended with what? Enthusiasm. But the whole SPC process is a process in its own, and that's very annoying too, because like I didn't receive my committee letter until basically 2 months after I actually submitted, because it took a month to get verified and then approximately another month to actually get my letter written and then have the meeting and everything. So just keep that all in mind. And that's just something like that's very unfortunate for like me. I could not control that. Once I submitted, I did my part. But start reaching out to recommenders. I would say around like that middle of April, May period. Definitely start reaching out to professors because you may have to find their emails, make sure they remember you, update them with a resume, transcript, things like that. Aside from the letter of recommendation, it was also a chance for me to learn like what a good personal statement should have and what it shouldn't have. The director of our program actually sat on the admissions committee, so like she knew like what things are red flagged or like what sounds really good and like what admissions committees actually look for. Also, it was great for the activities that you have to put. I think it's 15 on AMCAS. Just like my biggest takeaway from that was the whole idea of learning that when doing these activities, like, yes, it's cool that you can explain it, but the biggest takeaway and what medical school committees are looking for is what did you learn from that? And whether it's I learned how to be more personable, I learned how to communicate and network with future colleagues and physicians, I learned how to be more obedient and more punctual, just things like that. They always want to see what you learned because being that we're going into the medical field or the dental field or just the healthcare field in general, like we're setting ourselves up to be lifelong learners, and no committee or school wants anyone who thinks that they just know everything. I think my biggest con of the program was that they're quite expensive. So like if you just come out of undergrad or you've been working and living at home, like you have to think about what's your financial stability going to be, because these programs 9 times out of 10 are paid for. You do have to pay for out of pocket. But with me, like once we got to our second year, there was waivers. So I'm not saying that to say like, if this is something that you want, go for it. I'm a whole believer that God is going to make a way. So if this is something that you want, pray about it. Some kind of way, a way is going to be made. But like with me, I actually received a waiver for basically my second year of school. So technically I didn't pay to go to school for the second year, but that is a real thing. Like some people do have to pay. But like I said, don't let anything such as money, financial needs stop you from doing a program like this because there is many benefits from it. Another pro is that I literally was able to find myself, do a lot of self-reflecting when I wasn't studying. I learned how to study because if I would have went to medical school straight after undergrad, I probably would have been hit just piled, as that expression goes, with the fire hydrant. Like I wouldn't have known what to do. So just learning a lot about yourself. Like I say, remember that if you're doing a post-bacc program or getting a master's, this is probably your second opportunity. Like you want to show the admissions committees that you've made a change, you've matured. So everything should be on an upward scale. You're progressing from MCAS score to the GPA to the community service to the shadowing. Every aspect that would make you a well-rounded applicant and a competitive applicant, there should be an increase. That's something that a lot of schools really look at. And once again, another pro is that I was really appreciative for the early exposure to the medical school courses, such as in my second year, we completed medical biochem. There was an A&P with the cadavers, there was mammalian physiology where we learned all the body systems, and just being taught by a medical school professor, seeing how they think, what type of questions they think is important, stuff like that. And I know I also talked about studying, but really figure that out. Try to figure that out before you get into medical school, because honey child, the study techniques that I used in undergrad were not going to cut it in the post-bacc program. And so I'm thankful for that, because I said in the post-bacc program, I learned a lot about myself. So that was great. So I guess a lot of you are saying okay, she's kind of going in between post-bacc and master's. What's the difference? So the biggest difference is that with the post-bacc program, you just receive a certificate or of completion. Or with a master's, 9 times out of 10, you're going to get a master's in public health or a master's in biological science. Like, it's an additional a degree, and so that's another con where it comes to the expense. If people are like, so I'm going to spend 1 to 2 years and like I don't have a degree to show for it. No, personally, I don't have a degree to show for it, but I also have a medical school acceptance to show for it. So you just kind of have to weigh your options. What are the most important things to you? But like with the post-bacc program that I did, so there was a traditional route, or there was a route to get your master's where you could get a master's in public health or in biological sciences. So with some programs, things are a little different from program to program. But with that being said, like, do your research. That's extremely important for you to do your research. So fast forwarding in a couple of clips, you guys are just going to see some clips or videos or pictures from my post-bacc experience. See that we were well-rounded students. Yes, we studied in the library when it was test week like crazy, not just when it's test week. We did a lot of space studying, things like that. But we also knew how to have a great time. And I think that's very important. No matter what field of life you're going into, you should always have a great work, social life balance. So in a few, you'll see some videos of that. But yeah, I think the piece of advice or the dosage of medicine that I'm going to leave you guys with today is to remember that nothing grows from your comfort zone. And so if you want to grow, if you want to flourish, if you want to move up to that next step, you have to become comfortable with being uncomfortable. And that's just the reality of life. And I say that to say, before, as I told you guys, my main reasoning for coming to a post-bacc program was my MCAT score, because my GPA was just fine. But in the beginning, not knowing what I know now, I tried to study for the MCAT by myself. That did not work. And I don't think that works for a majority of the people. But at the end of the day, you have to know yourself. But now I am a group studier, and if I am not studying with a group, it's not going to work. But in the beginning, was that easy for me? No. But as I said, nothing grows from your comfort zone. So don't be afraid to take that next level, take that next step. Like, and always remember, like, don't compare yourself to anyone else in their journey. And I think that's kind of something that a lot of my colleagues did, or what I watched from my previous mentors group of class. Like, they like to compare one student to the next. No, everyone has their own journey. Everyone has their own story. But always remember, be true to yourself.
Alright, we are here to support you guys, is what I'm going to say. Alright, and it's pretty easy to lose focus and lose grip from that when you guys are studying day in and day out, especially now.
Doing? Shooting our shot.
Shooting our shot.
No, what was you doing? Crying.
Yikes!
Another Xavier grab.
Dr. Joe's girl.
Guys, I hope you enjoyed that video. If anyone has any questions about post-bacc experiences or wanting to know more about a post-bacc or more about a master's program, I'm going to try to hyperlink the AAMC website, which has like a list of post-baccs, I think, in regards to every state. I'm going to try to post that into the video. If not, I'll post it in the bottom of the bio area. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out, contact me. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share with your friends. You can follow me on Instagram at Cheron. Yeah, thanks, guys. See you guys soon. Have a great one.